What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series movie figures that were more recently released. So here we have 5 figures to look at today. From A New Hope, or Episode 4, we have Han Solo, Chewbacca, and the Sandtrooper. So all 3 of these look cool. Of course, the Han and Chewie are re-released. Actually, all these are re-releases, but the Han and Chewie are re-releases of like the newer updated stuff that they're sort of doing. Of course, not a whole lot of updated, but we get like the newer face designs where it looks like the characters, but more cartoony. We've had Luke and Leia, and we'll get more characters along those lines stuff. So it looks pretty decent for Han there. Of course, love his outfit design stuff, and like I said, not exactly Harrison Ford, but still a decent looking face, especially with the look that I more prefer, where it's got more of that cartoony look to it. And then we also have Chewbacca. Now, of course, Chewbacca's gonna be harder to tell, but he just looks, like normal Chewbacca there. Maybe some differences going on with the body, some better joints and stuff with the arms, comes with his bowcaster and all that. And then we get the Sandtrooper as well, so our dirty stormtrooper there with the shoulder pauldron, comes with the backpack and the bigger gun and stuff, so that all looks pretty cool there for our Sandtrooper. And of course, all 3 of these go perfectly together there in the nice little mural design. And then from other movies, we have from Attack of the Clones, Barriss Offee, so really cool to get her. We got Luminara not too long ago, so now we have her apprentice of Barriss Offee, so looks pretty good for her, as well as Lieutenant, I forgot to look to how to pronounce his name. I'd say Galle or Galle, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but he's pretty much like the second in command of the 327 Star Corps under Commander Bly, so pretty cool to have him as well to go along with that. So very cool for those 2 figures as well for this set. So I'm excited to check all 5 of these out. So let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we're starting off with Han Solo, which is the captain of the Millennium Falcon and former smuggler turned hero of the rebellion. So awesome to get the new updated Han Solo, of course, just like the Luke and Leia we've got more recently, where they're updating them with, like I always call it, the more cartoony looking face, not exactly realistic, doesn't look like Harrison Ford exactly. Obviously that's what it's inspired by, so they're trying to get some of that look, but it doesn't look anywhere, at least to me, near Harrison Ford. But I always like these looks, like just something about these like more cartoony looks, look real, just not like actual actors. I really like them for some reason, so looks really good for him. Love his brown hair, how it's all nice and poofed up, very 70s style, like looks very good there. And then the Han Solo outfit, so we get the cream color shirt with the high up collar there, long sleeves coming down with the black vest on over the top, so all nice sorts of pockets there and some pocket designs on the back as well, looks good. Going into the blue pants, again with the nice darker blue pants with the red like striping down the side, has the belt around his waist, and then the holster here, like belt and holster around on him, so looks good. So we get the nice belt with all sorts of little canisters, probably ammo and stuff going all around there, and the holster off to the side strapped to his leg. And then he's got the black like Imperial like boots there on his feet as well. So just looks pretty good overall. Just nice basic episode 4 Han Solo. But for movements, his head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far. Again, not the best, kind of typical with the Star Wars Black Series figures, but not bad, just not great. Shoulders will come up to 90 and has the butterfly joint back and forth, so moves back and forth there, and will rotate all the way around. Single elbow joint that far, so over 90 at least with rotation, and the wrist will twist all the way around and has the hinge. So they're actually on the ball joints, which I kind of like these ball joints. I just wish they had a little bit more range, but you can get the hinge up and down or back and forth depending on what you want there. So like I said, kind of like these new ball joints, I just wish there was a little bit more range on them. Then we go to the crunch at the waist or whatever, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around down to the hips. That'll come up to 90 and out to the side. A little bit of a thigh twist up in there at that joint as well. The single knee joint that bends back to 90 with rotation and shin twist at the top of the boot with the foot flexing back and forth and twist side to side. So good movements overall, pretty nice, decent figure. Of course, using the Black Series with the single knees and elbows and everything. Wish that was a little different, but otherwise, really like the figure. And of course, for accessories, don't get too much. We just get his DL-44 blaster, so the Han Solo signature blaster there. Looks pretty good with a nice scope up top and everything. So that looks awesome. Obviously, we get the holster, so we can slide it down into the holster here on his thigh, so just store it down in there. But it's Han Solo, so let's put it in his hand. So there's Han with the blaster, so that looks pretty good. Nice design overall. Like I said, looks very good. I want to say like realistic, but as I talked about, the face is off, so it doesn't look that realistic, just with everything else about it, looks really good. So once again, just like the Luke and Leia, I loved both of those figures, so I really love this Han as well. Now just to do some comparison, of course, we've had Han in many different forms and from all the different movies and everything over the years, but trying to find ones that match with this one specifically. I think the one that, I don't know if it's the only one I have, but at least the closest one I have in time is from the the 40th anniversary. So here's that Han Solo. So you can tell a lot of the change. Of course, outfit and basic designs mostly all there. They just threw in the Stormtrooper belt around his waist, but then look at the face design. So definitely love this new face a lot more than this older face design. So neither one really looked like Harrison Ford, but like I said, I just something about these newer looks that they're going with I really like about it. And then we also have Chewbacca, which is a Wookiee and former warrior turned smuggler with Han Solo, as well as the pilot and mechanic of the Millennium Falcon. So of course we get Chewie here, that's going to be just like the Han, Luke, and Leia, where it's the new updated form, but with it being a monster like this, it's, kind of hard to really tell how the looks and stuff are. I do really like it overall, it looks really good with the design, love the colors, loved his like smooth, slicked back hair there, looks good. We get the face design. He may have a little like cross-eyedness, but it's with this, you don't really notice it too much. A little black nose design, mouth open a little, seeing some of the teeth and lips and everything in there, so that's pretty fun. He's got a sash around his waist, so I assume this is ammunition. Never know exactly what's on his like belt sash here, and then the bag hanging off the side as well, so love that all together. Of course, his Wookiee hands where he's got the normal figures just all in the black color there, and then going down the legs to the feet where he's got the big feet there on him as well, and love like the different brown colors. So we get like this lighter brown, then darker browns up on the shoulders and up her thighs there and everything, so just love the different color changes and everything going on with the fur. Now, of course, the biggest issue we always deal with Chewbacca's is the movement. So the head there will twist side to side a little there and look down that far and up that far. So there's some movements, obviously not the best because of all the fur and everything. So that's always the issue with Chewbacca, and the head will go side to side as well. It kind of looks funny over to one side or the other there. So nice movements, must be on like a dumbbell joint up in there. But then we get the shoulders that do come up to 90, and there's a butterfly back and forth. So again, go back there and can rotate all the way around. We get the single elbow joint that bends there over 90. So pretty good movement there, not all the way up on itself, but with the single elbow joint, pretty good range there. And of course it has the rotation in it. Then we go to the wrist that'll twist around. Now of course we always have the fur hanging down, so it's always hard to get it really twisted all the way around there, but twist around, and I believe it's on like the little dumbbell joints as well, so move up and down and back and forth. So once again, pretty nice for that. Then we get the ab crunch, so just in the middle of the chest there, whatever, so crunch back and forth, again not a whole lot, and we'll twist around as well. Then down to the hips will come up that far, again the fur being in the way can only go that far up, and out to the side can kind of go that far. A little bit of a thigh twist once again, and down to the single knee joint that bends back towards 90 with rotation, and down to the foot, rock back and forth. Again, all the fur hanging down is in the way, but rocks back and forth and can twist side to side. So pretty decent movements overall, better than normal Chewbacca's, just I think in the elbows. Everything else seems probably about the same, maybe a little bit more range here and there in spots, but still that's the biggest issue with dealing with the Wookiees. They just have all the fur that you have to deal with to try and get the joints put in them. Now, accessory-wise, again, the only thing he comes with is his bowcaster, so we get it in the separate parts here that we can then put this on the front. And I never know exactly which way it goes. I always like to have these sort of curved forward a little bit, so I'm going to go with that design, and then we can put this in his hand. So there's the bowcaster in Chewbacca's hand, so it looks pretty good overall there for Chewbacca. Pretty easy to get in his hands, especially with past Chewbacca's. Not easy to get that bowcaster in his hand at all, but not too bad on this. They've like softened up the hands and stuff, so much easier to get in and out of there and everything. So it looks good for Chewbacca there. And again, just going on with an older figure here, again from the 40th anniversary. Here's the Chewbacca from that. Of course, I'm knocking all the bowcaster parts apart. So there's the Chewbacca. I do like the open head like growling there. I do like that design. We can see the height differences. I thought this new one was actually going to be taller, but it looks like the old one is actually a little bit taller. Of course, you can see the better design, so going with more realistic colors and stuff for Chewbacca compared to the mostly all just brown, so get the normal brown and dark brown instead of the lighter brown colors, but still has the sash and bowcaster and all that sort of stuff, so a lot of similarities between those two as well. But again, another good design overall for Chewbacca here. And now that we have Chewbacca, we can add him with Han Solo as well as our Luke and Leia. And there we have our gang from New Hope with their newer figure designs. So again, adding the Luke and Leia with those newer designs along with Han and Chewie, and all four look really good together. Nice designs overall for all four. And our last figure from A New Hope is the Sandtrooper, which are specialized stormtroopers that are trained and equipped for desert operations. So he looks pretty cool here. Of course, just like a stormtrooper, but just all dirty. So being out in the desert and everything. We had dirtiness on the helmet, up there on the chest, forearms, of course, all down the midsection. So it looks like, and like all the nooks and crannies, they tried to put some of the sand design on him, like wandering through the desert. And then we get the orange pauldron piece over here on the side as well, which looks pretty nice. So differentiates it a little bit there, other than just being a normal dirty stormtrooper. And we get the pockets on the sides as well, again all for desert survival. So it looks pretty good. Like I said, it's just pretty much normal stormtrooper, just has the pauldron and dirtiness is the only thing, and then some of his accessories make him a part of the Sandtrooper, but otherwise it's just a normal stormtrooper. And for his movements, that'll twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far, so decent movements once again. Get the shoulders that will come up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth and rotate around within there. We get the single elbow joint that bends there a little over 90 with rotation, and the wrist will twist all the way around and has the hinge up and down hand. Then we get the ab crunch under the chest armor there, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then down to the hips, that'll come up, especially got twisted out because the armor there can get up to 90 and out to the side that far. Thigh twist around, and the single knee joint that bends back to 90 with rotation all the way down to the foot, then that rocks back and forth and twists side to side. So decent movements once again, and overall looks pretty good with his design. Now the accessories are what make him more stand out as a Sandtrooper. So we get his survival backpack, so it's supposed to be a backpack, allows him, as it says, to survive in the desert especially. So all sorts of gadgets and contraptions going on there and stuff. Looks good. We've seen this multiple times before with the plug we can peg into his back. So you just peg that in the back there, and then it has the strap coming up over onto the shoulder, so it kind of goes along with the pockets and stuff there on the side. So there we've got the Sandtrooper. Then he comes with some like the standard gun, so it comes with the standard Stormtrooper E11 gun, so just the standard gun we can give to him. But one thing that makes this one special is that it also comes with the RT97C heavy blaster. So this gun with the nice big ammo canisters here on the side, longer barrel and everything, looks pretty good overall for that. Not sure if we've had this before. I know we've had different guns with different troopers and stuff, but I don't think we've had this one before, at least in our personal collection. So let me put this in his hand. So there's our Sandtrooper with the gun. Looks pretty decent overall. A little bit awkward how it doesn't have like a stock or anything on the back of it, so it looks kind of weird and awkward there, but just nice to have that gun design. Now we had other Sandtroopers before, so different versions over the years. Of course, these are older ones, and I can't even get them to stand up because their legs are so messed up and stuff. But here's some older versions. One of these is probably just, I don't know if it came in a multi-pack or something. I say if not just a single release, and then one came with the dewback, because I do have the Black Series dewback. So we get those different versions there. So nice to see those versions of the Sandtroopers. And then of course, just more recently, it's not considered a Sandtrooper, but it's the Jedi Patrol Trooper, and they're pretty much similar to like Sandtroopers, just all clean and stuff is the only difference. So nice to see the difference of the bright white compared to the dirtiness of the Sandtroopers there, which looks good. So nice to just add this version of the Sandtrooper, and of course having the new and improved body works out so much better. I can actually get this one to stand, of course, and over the years should hold up a little better compared to those others. So very nice to have this version of the Sandtrooper added to the collection. And then moving over to Attack of the Clones, we have Barriss Offee, so adding another Jedi to our collection. She's a female Miralon that was the Padawan of Luminara Unduli during the Clone Wars. So we see her in the Geonosis arena just for a quick second. So very nice to have her. Looks good with her design. So she's the same species as Luminara, so it has sort of that like greenish color skin. It looks more like yellowish and stuff, just kind of weird design. But love like the design on her face that the Miralon's like little diamonds design. So it's there across her nose and cheeks, so almost very like freckleish and stuff, but looks good. And of course we could possibly pop her head off and take this hood off of the robe and stuff. So we get the robe design, which looks mostly black, but it's got like this freckling and stuff of like a blue color, which I kind of like, but not sure if it's supposed to be blue with black on the top or black with like blue, like it's possibly flecking or something like that. And then there's some of that blue color on the inside of the hood as well. And then she's just got a complete like black covering around her face as well. So it just looks good overall, with the lipstick and everything on there. It looks pretty good. Then we get a robe that continues down, so a fabric or cloak, I should say, that matches with the hood, so nice design continuing on there. Then we get her outfit design, so nice here with all like the segmented lines and stuff. Looks pretty good. Feels nice like if you scrape across and stuff. And similar with her top, just different like thicker designs running through there as well. Belt around the waist with almost like a little heart logo. It looks like just part of the design of the species, because Luminara had similar designs to that on her like piece that hangs down the front of her dress. Then she has the all black dress on there as well. Looks good. We can of course lift that up to see her pants, like just normal legs there, all in black with the boots as well. So it has the high heel boots there, so could cause some issues with standing and stuff. As of right now, pretty fine, but who knows over years how that'll hold up. But for her movements, her head will twist around. Now it'll be hard to do with the hood there, but obviously you can get it to twist side to side, and the hood will twist around with it and everything, so you can get that adjusted however you want there. And then she'll look down that far and up that far again, though with the hood in the way, you don't get too much. And of course it's the Star Wars figure, so you don't get much anyways. Then to the shoulders will come up, of course feel stiff there, up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth, and then rotate all the way around. We get the single elbow joint there, again, just to about 90 with rotation, and the wrist will twist all the way around and hinge up and down. I love that she has the diamonds there on her hand as well. Then we get the ab crunch at the waist, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Hips will come up, of course, got to get the dress up again there. Get the hips come up to 90, actually looks like a little bit over 90, and then out to the side that far. Thigh twist all the way around, so has the thigh cut out there. Has the double pin joint there, so we get the double knee that bends all the way up, kicking herself in the butt. Shin twist at the top of the boot as well, and the foot will flex back and forth. Feels a little stiff, but yeah, flex back and forth and twist side to side. So decent overall. It's nice to have the double knee joints, you'll get better range, but as we've seen with like those last Stormtrooper stuff, the ears like in storage will kind of bend up their knees and everything, so may have issues with her over time, but as of now, don't have any issues getting her to stand. And for accessories, she comes with her blue lightsaber, so she has a blue blade lightsaber in the hilt design there. Obviously, we can pop this out and store it on her belt, so she should have a spot somewhere. Actually, I don't see a spot on her belt design, so I guess she can't store it, so you always have to put it into her hand. So there's Barriss Offee with her lightsaber, so that looks pretty good there. So we got her, and of course, as I mentioned, we also have her master. We got not too long ago of Luminar Unduli, so there we can have our master and apprentice there together, of course, of the same species, which I always thought was cool that they had the similar species there together. So looks pretty good. It's kind of crazy to me that Barriss is taller. I thought Luminar would be taller just because being older and everything, and just with the size, I thought, you know, Barriss would be a little shorter there, but they're pretty much the same height. Or actually, Barriss is a little taller possibly, but looks good to have both of them together. And again, another nice addition with a Jedi to the collection. And finally, from Revenge of the Sith, we have Clone Lieutenant Galle, which is the lieutenant of the 327 Star Corps for the Grand Army of the Republic, serving under Commander Bly and Jedi General Aayla Secura. So very cool to get Galle here, another named clone trooper, which is always awesome. But just like with this form, you know, it looks just like a basic 327 Star Corps, you know, has more of the higher design, which I know a lot of the troopers from the 327 have like the shoulder pauldrons and stuff like that, and the more like ARC trooper sort of design to them. So I forgot to look like what the details with that, like, you know, why they have a lot of that design, but it's not their leader, Bly. So it's just, you know, nice to have this. You can have it here as Galle, or just buy a bunch of them and use them as the same sort of just members of the 327. But overall looks good. We've seen Bly before, so we know the colors. So it's like the darker yellow, more goldish color. So with the stripe down the face, down the front here, a little bit on the stripes on the arms there, a little bit on the knee pads and around the feet as well. So nice just to get the different color designs thrown there. Like I said, sort of like the ARC trooper design. So we get the shoulder pauldron off to the side with like the brown color there, of course little pockets and stuff going around there to the side, and then we get the comma skirting here around the waist as well with the double holsters there for the little pistols and stuff. So looks pretty good overall with that design, but otherwise it's just a basic phase 2 clone trooper there. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around. Of course, this does have a helmet on, so we can take the helmet off and see just the normal clone trooper head there. So rotate that around, looks down that far and up that far. So again, not the best movements ever there. But then we get the shoulders that will come up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth and rotate around within there. We also get a bicep twist on this one and this single elbow joint that bends there to 90 with rotation on it. Then the wrist will twist all the way around and has the hinge up and down ham. Then we get the ab crunch, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Of course, do have the straps, so you have to be careful with that. They're connected up to the pauldron. The hips will come up, especially twist out to the side there to 90, out to the side that far, thigh twist, the single knee joint back with rotation, and down to the foot, rock back and forth and twist side to side. So decent overall once again for Lieutenant Galle here. So again, mostly just nice to add another clone trooper to the collection, especially a named character as I mentioned. But like with this, like I said, you can use it for any member really of the 327 there, but looks good overall. Now for weapons, he does come with the twin blasters as I mentioned, so the two DC-17 blasters, so like a lot of the commanders and stuff get. So we get those. We'll go and just put them in the holster. So we got those holstered there on his side, and then he also comes with the standard clone trooper gun of the DC-15A blaster, so just the standard clone trooper gun I'll give him. So it looks pretty good overall for Lieutenant Galle there. Now, as I mentioned multiple times, he serves in the 327 under Bly, so we can get his clone commander Bly there. Of course, the colors don't match exactly, but you know they are supposed to be the same design and pretty similar overall between both of them. And then of course we can bring in their Jedi General as well of Aayla Secura, so we can throw her in there as well to lead them there, especially on Felucia where they do Order 66 and kill her. But pretty awesome to get Lieutenant Galle here added to the collection. You know, just like I said, always another name clone trooper is always a good addition. Well, that's going to be it for our new Star Wars Black Series movie figures, where we got Han Solo, Chewbacca, and the Sandtrooper from Episode 4, Barriss Offee from Episode 2, and Lieutenant Galle from Episode 3. All these figures are really cool. Love especially the Han and Chewie nice upgraded editions added to collection. The Sandtrooper's good, like, especially compared to my past Sandtrooper, so nice to have this newer upgraded edition, but it's just another Stormtrooper, so nothing exciting there. And then, like I said, really cool to add another Jedi, Barriss Offee. I love the Jedi, so just getting a new character is always great, as well as Lieutenant Galle, always adding to our clone troops as well. So very nice for all 5 of these figures. So let me know what you thought of them down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.